Hey everybody, Sam Kavaris in the Nimnik Chevrolet Sports Update. What a weekend here in town when it comes to sports. Obviously the Georgia-Florida game on Saturday was exciting on all fronts. Not a very well played football game, but in terms of the numbers of people who were here, I saw thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people outside the stadium during the game. In fact, it was like a gauntlet walking through the parking lot just to get to the stadium. A lot of people having an awfully good time. The stadium itself was obviously full with 84,400, something like that, almost 85,000 in it. And the Gator fans left, well, with about a minute and a half to play when it was apparent that Georgia was going to win the game. Same thing happens when Georgia apparently is going to lose the game as well. It was not a well-played football game. You know, I look back to the 1983 game where it was a 10-9 final. That was a slugfest. That was a defensive slugfest. This one was no such thing. You can look at the 9 turnovers in the game, 6 by Florida. There were 2 more fumbles that were recovered. So, you know, you're talking about the ball flying all over the place. Sometimes I wonder, in following this game over the years, if the players aren't so pumped up here in the last maybe 10 years that they have a hard time kind of performing at their own capabilities. Florida had only turned the ball over 4 times in the rest of their games this year. 6 times in one game. You know, those kind of things obviously cost you a football game. And even though Florida was in it until the end, you really can look at the turnovers and say that that was the difference in the game. Good play call by Mike Bobo and good execution by Aaron Murray, and Georgia comes up with back-to-back wins for the first time in recent memory. It leaves the Dogs now in control of what they can do in the SEC East, but Florida, with the 1 loss, still has an awful lot of football to play and an opportunity to just be a phenomenal football team by the end of the year and go to a major bowl and really make quite a bit of progress in just the second year under Will Muschamp. The Jaguars, on the other hand, fall to Green Bay, but made it more competitive than anybody thought. I mean, people thought they were going to go up there and get beat 42-10. But still, as depleted as they were, as injured as they were, they went up there and had an opportunity to win the game virtually almost until the end. Again, they can't get out of their own way. And by Mike Mularkey's count, they had 9 dropped balls. These are professional football players. They're paid to catch the football. So catch it. It's not that it is difficult. But they didn't pay Mike Thomas $9 million or Mercedes Lewis X number of millions or Justin Blackman or whomever else because they thought they could catch it. They paid them that because they're professional football players who are paid to catch the football. And I'll be glad to have an argument or a discussion with anybody about, well, it's this, it's that. Look, if I don't do my job to the best of my ability, you know, they get rid of me. You know, the people, Kevin shooting this thing, we get rid of him if he can only shoot occasionally, we get rid of him. I mean, that's just the way that game is. And maybe this is the best that they've got right now. But boy, there were so many opportunities in that game that, as Mike Mularkey called them, layups that they're not taking advantage of that could have made this season so much different. Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Lions, and then next Thursday night at home against the Colts. I'm Sam Kavaris, and that's the Sports Short. And the Nimnik Sports Chevrolet Sports Update.